Okay. This week, you are going to think of a place where a wild animal would live. Now, if you think about it, wild animals live in the desert, they live in the jungle, they live in the prairie, they live in what's called the savanna, which is like grasslands, which is kind of like a prairie too. They live high up in the mountains. They live all sorts of different places. And this week, you're just going to draw the place. Next week, you're going to think of an animal to put into that place. When you are making a picture of a place, it has a special name. It's called a landscape. Now, I am not actually going to draw a place. You are going to draw a place. I'm just going to show you some things you might want to put into your place. For example, you might want to have a tree. Now, there's lots of different kinds of trees, and the way that you make a tree look different is by thinking about what the branches look like and what do the leaves look like. If you're thinking about a pine forest where a grizzly bear might live, then you might have a long, skinny trunk with long, skinny branches that point down, which is not normal. Normally, branches point up. And then you might use a really dark green to add the pine needles onto. And notice how I'm making sure that my pine needles are coming off of my branches. That is one of the biggest things that we have to remember as artists, especially when we are making trees, that the branches grow the leaves. The leaves don't grow off of the main trunk. They grow off of the branches. And if we start by drawing the branches, we will get very realistic trees. Now that I've got that, I can even go right on top of the tree trunk using those diagonal lines, those lines that are sliding down towards the bottom of the page, just like a slide you go down on the playground. And look at my pretty pine tree I just made. Now, another kind of tree I might want, I'm going to add a little bit of a trunk there. I might want a palm tree. Palm trees tend to move back and forth in the wind. Their trunks are very rubbery and bendy. So when I draw my palm tree, I might want to show that. So instead of using a standing up straight vertical line, I'm going to use kind of a curvy round line that's kind of thin, just like that. Now, palm trees, their branches, let's go ahead, their branches kind of come off the top like this. Just a few of them. And off of those, the palm leaves are much like how we draw eyes, by drawing a sad face. See my sad face? And then a happy face. A sad face, and then a happy face. Now, a lot of times with palm trees, the branches themselves are green too. They're kind of like a greenish brown. So I'm going to put a layer of green on top of it to kind of hide that a little bit. Notice that when I draw, I turn my paper upside down. That helps me be able to draw exactly what I want without having to bend my hand all over the place. Remember, for a palm tree, you do a sad face. There's my sad face. And now my happy face. Now, when I go to draw that in, it starts with the line down the middle. And then I've got little lines that go out, those diagonal lines, those slide lines. And that's how I'm filling it in. Now, if you look at a tree, or if you look at a leaf of any kind, it is never one solid color. It's very close to that, but not ever one solid color. So if I want to really make my art look great, I'm not going to use one solid color. I'm going to use more greens. And I'm not worried if there's white space showing out. I'm just playing with the idea of using more greens than just one solid green. Look at the difference. I can even put a light green in there. Ooh, that's fun to make. There's my palm tree. Now let's say, let me make it longer. Let's say I want one of those acacia trees that giraffes eat from. They have long, skinny trunks. Notice that I'm using vertical lines and I'm letting them slide out at the bottom just a little bit. And then their branches go straight out. So they're not curved up, they're not curved down, they're going straight out like this. Okay, then from there, I'm going to add the smaller branches that the leaves grow off of by adding little bits right here and there. Okay, then from there, I can add all of my leaves. Now, I'm not going to draw every single leaf. I'm going to use curly lines to show my leaves. Are you ready? They look almost like scribbles, but they're like circly scribbles. And I'm adding them on top of my branches. Wow, look at that. And once again, do I just want to use one solid green? No, I do not. In fact, sometimes you can even use yellows and purples. You can use more than just green. I could even take some yellow. Here's some of my yellow, and add little bits of yellow here and there. And it just makes it look like the sunlight is shining on it and making it nice and bright and happy. Okay? If I were to use maybe, I could even use a blue. And if I use the blue at the bottoms, you can't really see the blue because there's so much green, but there's just enough to make some dark spots and some light spots. So I'm not using a lot of blue, just little bits of blue. Art is so fun because you get to use things you would never expect. I need to fill in there, don't I? That should probably have another branch there, but we'll just cover it in. Nah, it needs a branch, so we're gonna add a branch. There we go. There we go. So, those are ways to make different kinds of trees, but if you are making a place, you always need a horizon line. So if I make a horizon line, I might make a horizon line like this, and then a horizon line like this, okay? If I want to do grass, I use up and down V's like this. Okay, that's an easy way to make grass, like the long, skinny grass that a tiger might hide behind. And again, if I use more colors of green, it's going to make my art look better. Okay, now remember, these are trees that I drew, and they are examples of trees that you can put into your landscape for a wild animal to live in.